Sitting here getting my fat bitch on. User social security number derped this comment out on one of my videos, and I've been pondering how I was going to answer it. Now, user social security number, from reading it, I'm just going to assume you're a YTT in your mail because of the level of derpitude. So user social security number says, I do love how they called Irish slaves, quote, indentured servants who Kasani, I assume that's the word came, there unwillingly, close quote. That's a slave, period. You're wrong. I'm also of Irish heritage, and quite a lot of Irish did sell themselves into indentured servitude to get passage over to the colonies. But they did that willingly. They weren't, kidnapped to do that. Now, were there some people that came over unwillingly in indentured servitude? Yes. Most of those were prisoners. And of course, there probably were some people that were kidnapped and sold into indentured servitude. That must be a very small amount. The prisoners, if sold into indentured servitude, had a term of 7 years. But considering the options of sitting 7 years in an Irish prison or coming to the colonies to work off a debt for 7 years, I'd have taken the indentured servitude any day. Now, regular indentured servants came over, worked off their debt. It was a term of 6 years usually. And then they were free to go about their business. Now, were there some bad people that maybe kept them longer or did unspeakable things? Yes, probably. But for the most part, they were looking for labor that was reliable and had, a skill set that they could use. So, you could have an indentured servant who was a maid, who was a farmhand, who was a wheelwright, who was a cooper, who was a blacksmith or a farrier. You were looking for something to improve your own lot in life. However, compared to the African slaves, it's a completely different ball of wax. Now, the people who were unlucky enough to be stolen from the continent of Africa were forced into boats, suffered through the Middle Passage, and arrived in slave markets and were sold to the highest bidder. They did not have a term. Their term was life. If you had children, those children also were slaves for their entire lives. That's chattel slavery. It is not indentured servitude. Now, some slave owners did allow slaves to buy their freedom. I think that was fairly rare and it was quite expensive. And you had to have a skill set where you would be earning money somehow to put away to buy your freedom. Thanks for your comment. I hope this clears up the difference between indentured servitude and chattel slavery. Bless your little pea-picking heart. Derp! Derp!